Dear students, welcome to the video lecture of classification. So what is classification? So classification, first we have to discuss about the classification theory. Classification is a process of checking to see if an object belongs to a category or a class. Is regarded as a basic structure of human nature. The object belongs to a category or a class. This is known as a classification theory. Two important points of the classification theory are: a class is a specification of structure, behavior, and description of an object. Classification is more concerned with identifying classes of an object than identifying the individual objects in the system. The classification is more concerned with identifying classes of an object than identifying individual objects in the system. So we have to find the classes for an object. The challenges of the classification. Intelligent classification is an intellectually hard work and may seem rather arbitrary. It is a hard work. It is not an easy task. Martin and Odell have observed in the object-oriented analysis and design that, in fact, an object can be categorized in more than one way. An object can be categorized in more than one way. So see this example. Here the person, her name is Betty. Betty. Here, her boss regard her as an employee. Her boss regard her as an employee. A servant classified as an employer. A servant classified her as an employer. The local animal control agency licensed her as a pet owner. She is having a pet, so the local animal control agency licensed her as a pet owner. The credit bureau of reports that Betty is an instance of an object type called good credit risk. That means actually she's paying her loan very correctly, so it classified as a good credit risk. Classified her as a good credit risk. So an object Betty is classified differently in the different perception of the different people. So that's why the classification is an intellectually and it's not an easy task. It is an intellectually and hard work process. Approach for identifying the classes. So we have discussed approaches. The first one is noun phrase approach. The second one is common class pattern approach. Third one is use case driven approach. Fourth one is the class responsibility collaboration CRC approach. So these are the approaches for identifying the classes. So in this video, we are going to discuss about the noun phrase approach and the common class pattern approach. So remaining two, we are going to discuss in the subsequent video, forthcoming video. First, the noun phrase approach. Using this method, you have to read through the use cases, interviews, and requirements. So you have to read through the use cases generated and interviews with the customer or a user and their requirement document. You have to very clearly go through it. Specific requirement specification, you have to go through the requirement specification carefully, looking for the noun phrases. Change all the plural into singular. Change all the plurals into a singular and make a list, which can be divided into three categories. One is relevant class, fuzzy classes, and irrelevant classes. So you have to go through the use cases, interviews, and requirement specification, and extract the noun and convert the plural into singular. And you have to see that okay, initially where they fall into. So the classes are okay. These are the nouns are the classes. Whether relevant, you think relevant, fuzzy, confusing, or relevant. You must be able to formulate a statement of purpose for each candidate class. If not, simply eliminate it. Okay, you have to find a formulate a statement of purpose. That means you have to see that you are able to give a purpose statement for each class. You are not able to give a purpose statement, you have to eliminate it. You must select the candidate classes from other two categories, like irrelevant, or you must then select the candidate classes from other two categories, irrelevant and fuzzy. Guideline for identifying the classes. The following are the guidelines for selecting the classes in your application. First one is look for noun and noun phrases in the problem statement. Look for the noun and noun phrases in the problem statement. Some classes are implicitly taken from the general knowledge. So everything cannot be from the document. Some classes are implicitly taken from the general knowledge. All the classes must make sense in the application domain. So you have to ensure to that all the classes which you are decided have a make sense in the application. Avoid computer implementation classes defer to design stage. So implementation related classes are postponed, not in this stage, postponed into the design stage. Carefully choose and define the class names. You have to properly give a choose and define the class names. First, in this process, we have to follow the first redundant classes. Redundant classes means do not keep two classes that express the same information. Do not keep two classes that express the same information. If more than one word is being used to describe the same idea, select the one that is the most meaningful in the context of the system and omit the second one. Okay. If the two classes express same information, keep the relevant one and discard the other one. Adjective classes. Does the object represented by the noun behave differently when adjective is applied to it? Does the object represented by a noun behave differently when adjective is applied to it? If the use of the adjective signals the behavior of the object is different, then make a new class. For example, if you have a class membership, you are giving adjective adult and youth. Adult membership and youth membership, if they behave differently, then they should be classified as a different classes. Third one is attribute classes. Tentative objects which are used only as a value should be defined or restated as an attribute and not a class. See to that some classes are only storing the value. They are restated as an attribute, not a class. For example, demography of a membership are not a class, but attribute of the membership class. The last one, irrelevant classes. Each class must have a purpose. Every class should be clearly defined and necessary. If you cannot come up with a statement of purpose, simply eliminate the classes. So these are the steps of the noun phrase approach. Redundant class, find the key, remove the redundant class, give an adjective if they have a different meaning and have a different classes. See if it's an attribute, if it's not a worth for a class, you have to make it as an attribute, not a class. The class is irrelevant, discard it. So review the redundant classes and review the adjectives, review the attributes, review the relevant classes. This is a process of identifying the relevant classes and eliminating the irrelevant classes. It's an incremental process. A case study of why a data banking system is given here. Initial noun phrases or candidate classes are from the requirement specification use cases. The user select the following classes: account, amount, bank line, client, envelope, 4-digit, record, saving account, checking account, and step. Next, eliminate the irrelevant classes. For example, envelope, 4 digits, and step are relevant. Okay, they do not know clearly defined purpose. So these classes are eliminated. Eliminate the irrelevant. So these three are considered as irrelevant classes. They are eliminated. And the next step, review the redundant classes and building a common collaboration. See to that whether any redundancy is there. So in this case, the client and bank client, okay, they are both redundant. So their purpose are same. So that's why we are keeping the bank client the term, and as well as we are removing the client. So client class is redundant. That's why it is got removed. The next step, review the class containing the adjectives. If the object represented by the noun behave differently when the adjective is applied to it, then we need to make a new class. You have to give an adjective to a particular class. Okay, then it is behaving differently, then you have to define it as a new class. However, if it's if the different use of the same object or class is irrelevant, we must eliminate it. In this example, we have no classes containing the adjective that we can eliminate. Okay, so no class belongs to that category. Next one is review the noun phrases that are attributes. Here the amount, okay, amount. The amount is a value. It is going to store the value. It cannot work for a class. That's why the amount got removed. Okay, it will be an attribute of some other class. Then review the class purpose. All the classes are reviewed. For example, some samples are given. Account class, it is a formal abstract class. It defines the common behavior of saving and checking account. Bank client, a client is an individual that has a checking account and possibly saving account. Okay, it's a clear purpose also. Transaction classes, key transaction time, date, type, and balance. So all the classes having a purpose. So we have to keep the all other classes. So amount, client, envelope, digits, steps are removed. We have to keep the other classes. That's it for the non-phrase approach. Next, we are going to discuss about the common class pattern approach. Common class pattern approach. This approach is based on the knowledge base of the common classes that have been proposed by the various researchers. First one is candidate classes, concept. Concept or the principles or ideas are not tangible, not visible, but used to organize or keep track of business activities or communications. Next, the candidate classes are events. Check that the candidate classes are events. There are a point in time that must be recorded and remembered. Point in time that must be recorded and remembered. Things happen usefully something else at given date, a given time, or a step in an order sequence. These are known as event. For example, order which is an event that must be remembered. Order is an event that must be remembered. Candidate class organization, the organization units that people belongs to. For example, accounting department might be considered as a potential classes. So organization, a department, a college, organization, they are come under the company, come under organization class. Next, the candidate classes are people and person. The different role users play in interaction with the application. Okay, the bank client is a person. Okay, such a classes can be come under the candidate class, people or person. Different roles user play in the interaction with the application. It can be divided into two types by according to Gordon Yardan. Those representing the user of the system, such as operator and clerk. Okay, one type is user of a system. For example, a bank client can use the system. Second, those people who do not use the system, but whose information is kept. Okay, so the people that are not using the system, their informations are stored. For example, client, employee, teacher, and manager are some example. Next, the candidate classes places. These are the physical locations, such as buildings, stores, sites, or offices. The system must keep the information about it. Buildings, stores, sites, and offices are known as the candidate class places. Candidate class tangible things are devices. Physical objects are a group of objects that are tangible and devices with the application can interact. For example, car, pressure, and sensor are the candidate classes tangible things and devices. So class are concept, event, organization, people and person, and as well as places, tangible things are devices. So based on this, we are able to select the classes. Example, concept class. Performance is an example of the concept class. Event class, checking account, and transaction class. Checking account means it model the client withdrawal service and provide the more specialist with the withdrawal service. Transaction class, keep track of the transaction, time, date, and type and balance. Organization class, bank class, it is a repository of accounts and the process of account transaction. People and person are a bank client. A client is an individual that has a checking account and possibly saving account. So client belongs to a class people and person. And places. So places are not in this banking system. There is no places are mentioned, so that is not applicable. Tangible thing devices class. It allows all the account held by the bank client is it come under the category of tangible things and devices. Okay, so this approach is known as a common class pattern approach. So far we discussed the noun phrase approach and common class pattern approach, and remaining approach we will discuss in the subsequent video. And thanks for watching the video.